What's up, people? It's your boy Levelhead, giving you a quick audio take on Nintendo's Spotlight. I didn't go into details with our quick review. I gave some of my thoughts on it, but again, I want to go there strictly with Nintendo's Spotlight and give my take and opinion on it. Yes, I'm driving right now. If you hear cars and everything like that. I'm hearing a lot of folks screaming and hollering that Nintendo won E3, which to me, I don't really get off into all that who won this and who won that, because I don't think that really is the case. My take is this: did you do anything to persuade folks to buy your product that were not already going to buy it? That's how I measure your success. Did you do anything to persuade me, if I'm on the fence or not interested in your product, to buy the product? And in that sense, I would say Nintendo did not do anything to convince, at the Spotlight, to convince folks to buy the Switch if they were not already interested in buying the Switch, because they showed nothing that they did not show in January. They just showed more of it. So if you was already persuaded on the Switch in January, when they had the January 12th event, then this Spotlight should not have done anything more for you, but gave you more of what sold you on the Switch back then. I'll agree with some guys, like I like John Shaw's take, where he said that Nintendo has games that are coming that you can play, and I know the dates and when I can buy them. That is true. But again, are these games going to persuade a fan that is not a Nintendo fan to go buy a Switch? I would say no, because a lot of the games that we saw are the same type of games that were on the Wii U, and the Wii U didn't convince those guys to go buy, or ladies to go buy, a Switch. I mean, Yoshi is not going to convince a person that is not a non-Nintendo fan to consider buying a Switch. Kirby is not going to do that. A font of Metroid Prime 4 is not going to do that. I will ask you this question, and then I'm not trying to throw no salt and shade, because as a Nintendo fan, I thought the Spotlight was cool. It was all right. It done enough for me as a fan of Nintendo. I'm looking beyond me. Did you do enough to get somebody that is not a fan to buy it? Did you do enough to get someone who was not really interested in the Switch to get one? Did you move the needle on that group? And I have to honestly say, no, they did not. So if they did not do that, how can you say they won E3? Now, Mario Odyssey is the game of E3. But Mario Odyssey coming in, we knew it was going to be the game of E3. No different than Zelda Breath of the Wild. We knew it was going to be the game of E3 as well. When is Nintendo games not the game? These type of games from Nintendo always trump everybody else, because Nintendo are the greatest game developers ever. They might not make the best looking games graphically and all that like Sony. Sony, I think, makes the best looking, visually pleasing games, but Nintendo makes the best technically sound games of all companies. So, of course, Mario is going to come to the scene and deliver, because it's Mario. When has Mario not delivered? So, but I'm asking a question. Did Nintendo move the needle for those people who are still looking at the Switch and saying, I don't know? If you could tell me that Spotlight, not the Treehouse, because most folks is not going to stick around to watch the Treehouse. Fans will. If you are not a fan of Nintendo, you are not sticking around to watch the Treehouse. I'm just going to be honest with you. Most folks are not sticking around to watch that. They're going to go and try to see interviews from Sony and Microsoft and Bethesda and Ubisoft and EA and all that stuff, they're not gonna stick around to watch Mario be played if they're not convinced and sold on Mario, or if they're not a fan of Nintendo already. And so, and I asked this question, and I said it yesterday and I'm gonna say it again. I'm strictly talking about the spotlight. I'm not talking about all the different events Nintendo had. I'm not talking about the Treehouse. I'm not talking about all the invitations with Splatoon 2, with Arms, and I think Pokken Fighter. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking strictly about the spotlight, the thing that everybody tunes in to watch. Nintendo gives the sales pitch for their new platform and for their product. That's where they give the sales pitch. Everything else is added. If you're not at E3, then that's your sales pitch. In my opinion, Nintendo stayed the course. They didn't lose anybody that was already excited about the Switch. They didn't gain anybody that wasn't. And I ask this as my last question. Presentation means everything to me, not just what you show, but how you show it. And so I'm gonna ask a question. Take what Ubisoft did with Beyond Good and Evil 2 and put people in a room that are not familiar with neither one of the games. They're not familiar with Beyond Good and Evil. They're not familiar with Metroid Prime. Put them in a room and show them both presentations for both games this year. Which game you think gonna stand out? There you go. So, in the end, I will say this. I believe Nintendo did a good job for their fan base. I think Nintendo done enough to keep those who are excited about the Switch excited. I don't think they moved the needle for those who were not excited about the Switch in January. You didn't do anything to convince those guys to get a Switch at this spotlight. So to me, the needle did not move. So I can't turn around and say Nintendo won something because of an announcement of a game and just showing the front of Metroid Prime 4. Now, I know a lot of folks are not going to like that. Hey, I'm not here to always make you like what I got to say. I'm here to be honest. As a fan, Nintendo's spotlight was cool. I enjoyed it. I liked a lot of what I saw. The Yoshi game actually convinced me to get Yoshi, because I typically don't get those type of games, but I would get Yoshi, and I might even get Kirby because my daughter likes it. But if I'm not a Nintendo fan, I don't believe nothing that Nintendo showed me would convince me to become one. Nothing Nintendo showed me would convince me to get a Switch outside of Mario Odyssey, which Mario Odyssey already has sold people on getting the Switch. So if you wasn't sold on Mario Odyssey, nothing shown at this spotlight will convince you to get a Switch. If you disagree, let me know in the comment section. If you didn't like the video, thumb it down. Do what you do. If you like, thumb it up. Hey, I ain't running. I'm just sharing my opinion. No, they did not win E3. And I don't think anybody really wins E3. I don't believe they done enough to convince you to buy their product if you were on the fence about it, or if you wasn't interested at all. That's what I measure. It ain't about who won or none of that, but I do believe they have the game of E3. Anyway, with that being said, it's your boy Levelhead signing out. Till next time, deuces.
Let's see what we've got. Moksha, just as Yama discredited. True freedom lies beyond.